all the social channels to get fired off. It's moving slow. It's an early Friday morning. Okay, I think we're probably live. Every time I say that, I go back and watch the video, and I'm not live yet. So the countdown just seems to get longer to no avail. Okay, I am here. I know this is not a normal episode of Beard Banter, and so I don't know how many people will be bright and early on a Friday morning. But I'm here with Elena, and she is the CEO of Women Who Code. Women Who Code is one of our charities for the Shave That Beard charity. And so if you haven't donated to that, what we want to do is talk about what those funds will do to impact them. Women Who Code is the first charity that's going to get a distribution. Now, I say that a little bit out of path in the sense that we did have a dedicated donation of $15,000 to Hackers for Vets, but we are at $8,101 of our $10,000 to be able to hand Elena a check for $10,000 as part of our Shave That Beard charity that's happening at ConnectWise. So, Elena, do you mind introducing yourself? We do have somebody watching, a few people, it would seem. We got Scott Minky saying, "Hey, Matt." Scott, listen, if you haven't hit up the GoFundMe page, bro, you stumbled into the wrong stream, my friend. Elena, why don't you introduce yourself for me, please?
Yeah.
I've already kind of tried.
Hello, I'm Elena Percival. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Women Who Code, the world's largest and most active community of diverse women technologists around the world. So we're serving members in 147 countries. We're serving over
That's crazy.
300,000 members with an average of 5 free technical events every single day. So if you go to womenwhocode.com/events, you will see probably 30 to 40 events happening in the next week. Actually, today we have Block Data Pi Summit that's available. So if you have a couple hours today to spend listening to some amazing talks by some incredible technologists who just happen to be predominantly diverse women, please join us. That event today is free.
And so that's on. I didn't realize how technical some of these conversations were. Then I had a very focused discussion on DevOps, and with respect to block storage is a fairly technical conversation. That's fantastic. I am not a coder, Elena. I'll go ahead and lay that out there. I'm much more on the theorist side of things in technology and the loud guy. But you told me earlier that, and this is what my call to action is here for people watching, is that I have my GoFundMe site. I'm going to flash that up here in just a sec for us for this donation. But if it's go.cybermattlee.com/GoFundMe, and if you'll go and donate, that would be amazing. But the call is $27. For anybody that's not my corporate friends here, Michael, you're not getting off that easy, buddy. But for anybody that hasn't donated to our charity yet, $27 does what, Elena?
With $27, we can provide free programming for an entire year for one of our members. And so if you have a corporate account, you can do 270 or 2,700. Those dollars help us to provide close to 2,000 free technical events, elevate diverse technical and women in tech leadership as role models to our community, provide hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships to people who are transitioning into the tech industry. This is an amazing community. We got just an incredible message from a woman who said that was just so grateful for the Women Who Code community, that it had empowered her, that she was learning various programming languages through our Python community, and that she was already introducing women, young and old, to Women Who Code. And just when we shared that letter out to our team, honestly, it brought some of our members to tears, and we just got that last week.
That's awesome. One of the things, so for people that don't know, Michael, I'm at 8,100 of 10,000. Michael Crean is with Solutions Granted. He and I met in a really interesting way, Elena. I'm in tech, and I'm loud, and I have opinions about cybersecurity. And I was saying, don't use the word breach, while Michael was wearing a Breach Patrol T-shirt, right? So, and he's a SOC as a service, and actually a really awesome dude. But it was funny because he and I talked, and what was so fun for me and what was fascinating was, he goes, Matt, why do you say that? And so instead of this adversarial kind of chest beating, it's Matt, why do you say that? And I explained it to him as I don't, unless I'm the attorney sitting on the other side or the expert witness that's going to be
Mhm,
grilled, I'm not going to say the word breach. Right.
mhm.
And so we had a fantastic meeting and relationship, but he just asked, where are we at on the round of 10,000? We're 8101, trying to get to 10,000 so we can distribute this out to Elena. And if you want to do it as a corporate donation, Michael, you can reach out to me separate or Ian. You don't need to go through the GoFundMe page. But okay, so $27 supports one woman for a year. What is
Mhm.
the global, or let's go back to this. What is the impact from a monetary perspective to that woman over the course of that career for this? And you've done some of these studies, I know, because that's the
Yeah.
whole point of being in philanthropy. Uh, oh,
So
Michael said he's going to donate the 1900 to
oh,
complete the round. You guys, I don't know the divisor of 27, someone that's faster with math. That would be so cool. But that's awesome, Michael. Like super, super awesome as usual, brother. Thank you so much.
thank you so much, Michael. Yeah, so I'd like for you to think of it this way. 50% of women are leaving the tech industry at that 10-year mark. And so if they're leaving their technical careers, if they move into another career path like product management,
Yeah,
recruiting, marketing, so another really good career path, that represents a $1.7 million impact on their lifetime earnings. So woman, every diverse woman that we can retain on their career path. And what we hear so often from our community is that at that point in time, women are actually exhibiting leadership skills that should result in them being considered for promotion. They should be, elevating in their career. But rather than saying, "Oh, actually, we think that you could be a good leader. We should be promoting you," they hear, "Oh, people, you're great at working or talking about the product. Have you thought about marketing? You're great at like explaining and getting people to join your team. Have you thought about recruiting?" Whereas their male counterparts are hearing, "Oh, you're exhibiting leadership skills," instead of, "Yeah, we should promote you. We should pay you for this additional skill that you're bringing alongside your technical skills." You get like moved out of the career, out of your chosen
and
career path.
and you know what the delineation is
Mhm,
for male counterparts. You're often finding a lot of support structures saying, "You've got this. You're going to
mhm,
crush this. Don't worry about it. You should move forward. You're entitled to this. You're driving that." And I'm pointing that finger back at my own career. Right? I've had
mhm.
those pushes my whole life that put me where I am in my world. And I have to say, I think that corollary is you're the pat on the back. You're the uplifting spirit to say, you got this, and here's some more skilling so you don't have your imposter syndrome. And to
Yeah.
that same point, I live with imposter syndrome, and I have many resources to say, no, bro, you got this. And I
Mhm,
feel like that might be potentially, a challenge that I don't empathize with because I don't face, but
mhm.
it really helps to have organizations that empathize with that and can move people through that in their career. Scott Minky, there's no QR code happening, brother. I don't QR, but I will put up the website here again for us. I think he was trying to pull my chain. It's funny. I did a speech at IT Nation Secure, and on the stage, I plopped up, and I'm going to bring up a ConnectWise resource here in a second to talk about this. But I popped up on my stage a QR code for Rick Astley, and I just wanted to see how many people would scan it. I got 86 MSPs scanned and got my Rick Astley song. So it was pretty funny to be able to track that in real time. It was great. Let me type in this page real quick for Scott. Scott's another great friend of mine. He's a sadist. He gets up at 5 a.m. and works out in this massive space in Texas and has throughout the entire pandemic. It blows my mind. I dedicate 1 pound of fat to Scott on this one. But all right, hold on just a sec. So let's see. go.cybermattlee.com/GoFundMe. And if you want to read more about the charity, Gary V has like his own people to do this. I'm not there. So I'm about 12 million miles from there. All right. So this would be shave that beard. Okay. So I'll pop this one up as well. This is your first page, Scott, for getting all the information about it. And then if you just want to do the donation, this has some information there, but it'll also direct you back to that page. So I'll leave this one up for anybody that wants to donate. So being able to make a 1 point some odd $1 million delineation in someone's income in a lifetime, that's pretty life changing. And I think it goes a long way towards trying to support some of the efforts of internal DE&I. What I mean by that is if you're shifting a female or potentially diverse population female from one role to another role, then you kind of have this keeping an artificial low of that salary expectation and capability, where if you supporting women in the workplace
Mhm.
and driving these forward in careers and coding capabilities and technology leadership and things in that space, then you're actually helping shift the DE&I for that company's benefit, right? Because you're keeping people in higher paid salary, technical producing roles and management roles. So I
Mhm.
think the interesting aspect of this that I just absolutely love and also was shocked by with you is most companies, DE&I company or people don't have the ability to support companies like Women Who Code, charities like Women Who Code. And I think that's interesting to me that companies aren't using this as an external mechanism to help drive the workforce for their DE&I efforts, especially in technology.
Yeah, change doesn't happen overnight, and so it really needs to be an investment in, shameless plug in the communities that are doing the work um, to support marginalized and historically excluded communities from business, from leadership, from tech industry. Because specifically in technology, while it's social good, actually there's not enough engineers to meet the market needs. Every company is becoming a technology organization right now, and the industry can't afford to lose 50% of the diverse women who love it and have chosen that as their career path.
Yeah.
Uh, so it absolutely makes sense. But then as women gain power, influence, they're reinvesting 90% of that back into their family and their community, creating a virtuous cycle. So it's not as though it's there's no losers when diverse women excel in the tech industry.
Yeah. Well, and I think if we zoom out and take it even away from the women and diverse women concept, if we
Mhm,
just zoomed out in the technology industry, especially around code, most of the death and destruction from cyber begins in the code,
mhm,
right? And I think that people and companies are struggling with tech debt and giant debt in that space. And there's also struggling with more mature idiots, right? Asking questions around, hey, do you have a sustainable CI/CD pipeline? Are you even doing anything about your monolithic code bases that
mhm,
existed? Are you starting to do and at the same time, there's not enough people to do the job. There's not
mhm,
enough people trained in what to do for the job. There's not enough people that are, and so we have to expand this workforce no matter what.
mhm,
That's just the straight up honest truth about that. So I think investing in Women Who Code is investing in that workforce development, which is what Ashley Arnold says. And I just want to take a second. Ashley Arnold is another one of those bastions of driving the change that needs to exist in companies forward. She is and runs our rural if I don't slap me if I've misquoted Ashley, but runs our rural kind of economic development space and is starting to spring up these basically support structures that exist in cities that would have not had the job capabilities before, and really cool programs that she's involved in. But always one of my awesome people with comments. It makes me very happy. So let's bring in one more person, Elena. So I'm going to bring in someone from choose or from I'm sorry from ConnectWise. ConnectWise is our sponsoring organization that we're working out the details on what the event looks like. We've even given some ideas around us being in these social media booths in the middle of the event, just shaving as people walk by, right? And having, people be able to donate on the spot and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But who knows where it winds up. But the point being is, Mr. Sean Lardo, let's bring his beautiful face in here.
I was prepping for the
I
for
saw the brush. I thought it was
the
very cool. I use the finger comb usually, Scott or Sean. That's my most methodology here. Um, yeah, as former
no.
code monkey, I love it. Hold on, real quick. Scott Minky goes, former code monkey and manager of Yes, those are my monkeys. It all starts with the code, brother. You're 100% right, and I think that's the point. Is we're trying to expand that workforce and helping women who code is hopefully going to be doing my small part and drop in the ocean of doing that. And Sean's co-presenting this with me, Elena. So he, because of their level of sponsorship, ConnectWise is bringing in their bearded wizard, Sean. So
I'm holding on as long as I can to this. You know, after I volunteered, I was like, my Lord, I'm gonna be so. My daughters are like, you know what? You're gonna look really weird when you
yeah.
shave your beard.
I'm gonna
So please,
find 4 chins in here, man. Like I didn't even
right.
know. I'm gonna be like, there's 4 more in here. How's this possible? So Elena, you have a supporter in the audience as well, and she actually said a really cool point. I want to go back to here in a second too. But Elena, thank you for being one of our strongest voices. I had the opportunity and honor, which is awesome, to meet you in 2019 at a Women Who Code event, and I felt empowered to grow and succeed. Thank you for encouraging words. And I want to touch back why this matters, Elena, because if you look back at an earlier comment she made, I think the same person. Yeah, okay, great. If I may add an IND observation, try saying imposter feelings. Syndrome implies a disease or an illness. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, fair. Thank you, Wendy. Yeah, imposter feelings. I guess that's fair. I'm subject to the same societal forces that kind of drive that. You're not wrong. Um, Scott, though, pops in and says, imposter, and I think we're going to use imposter feelings. Fine with that. Come for us all. And the more successful you get, the more you'll develop an internal fear of being found out. And I think that is a point, too. And there's support structures for that, right? And especially in the male dominated space in that regard. And I don't mean to be disingenuous, but I feel like the support structures may not exist in the same for every other consuming human in that space. For you get to some level of your game and now you go, maybe I'm an idiot and everybody's going to figure it out. And I live with that. Right. I think, but to that point, I think there's more support structure for me for that. So anyways, I know I've rambled, Elena. One of the other things we've talked about, Sean knows I ramble. God bless me. I'm a rambler. So one of the things that we talked about earlier is what is your overall kind of impact right now? What surprised me so much was that I think you said on any given day, there might be as many as 5 webinars happening across the globe in your footprint and expansion. So this isn't just a US operation, right?
Yeah, you can, if you go to Women Who Codes events, or our event website, you'll see we're having events in Ukrainian, we're having events in Japanese, we have a lot of Spanish language content. We're having events taking place all over the world. So we're serving members in 147 countries. And so these events are taking place in
Awesome.
different time zones and different programming languages and different actual spoken languages. And the you know up until 2020, all of these events for the most part were taking place in person, and since then we've brought them all online, and so that's really increased our impact because we are now able to put them onto YouTube as content that people are able to continue to revisit when they happen to have time and access to the internet. And so it's really increased our ability to reach a broader audience.
So, question for you, since you, I mean, I'm new, I'm coming into this late, so I apologize already, but thank you for bringing me back on. Did you find that did you lost anything when the transition to virtual happened for you?
Um, so were able to adapt fairly quickly. The year before, we had launched track communities. So that's data science, Python, blockchain, cloud, front end development, mobile, and so we had started to put some content online. And so what we had to do is we have 600 volunteers. We had to change our processes and retrain everyone very quickly. And we thought, maybe we'll be able to do half the events that
Sure.
we typically do in a year, which is close to 2,000. But we were able to reach nearly as many events, and it with the better outcome of now this great content that is being shared at each one of our events is now being recorded and then put onto our YouTube channel.
Which
Um,
creates evergreen consumption capabilities, right, for a lot of that
exactly.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I would be curious about is there's definitely the value in my mind of the data, and I think that has to
Mhm.
happen, and I love that. Do you feel like you're missing any of the emotional and human to human connection that exists in person in that transition, right? That uplifting, we're all here together crushing this kind of feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I definitely get Zoom fatigue, and so
Yeah.
I'm starting to miss that connection, that in-person connection. But I also know that there's we've just run a survey. So some of the things that we hear
Okay.
about traveling to events is, gas prices in the United States right now are, $5 a gallon. And so there's all of these new barriers, not just COVID, that exists, but we've also worked to develop new types of events, like having kind of live chats on Slack that enable you to more directly interact, more directly create.
And more
Uh,
organically and more
mhm.
playfully, if you will, and more that kind of thing that builds
Mhm.
those relationships. And I'm a playful guy, so I hope that wasn't taken. But yeah, I would rather chat and tease people, make fun of Sean Lardo's shorter beard than
Mhm.
mine. Those things are important. It's
Yeah,
nice and
That's
and
tighter though.
at our conferences, we have about people from about 90 different countries attending them, and we have a networking
So
like
cool.
option. And so I love when I go into those and I'm like, oh, I'm meeting you, and you're from Nigeria. I'm meeting you, you're from Canada.
Yeah.
I'm meeting you, you're from India.
Do you
And
pop
just
into the different events and meet and be that kind of
oh,
gregarious?
absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're coming to a Women Who Code event, I'm probably the team
I'm
member who
there.
loves the
I love
networking
it.
function the most,
That's my favorite.
because
If I was a CEO, I would roll up my sleeves the whole time too, in that same vein. Especially, it shows your passion, right? I want to
Mhm,
touch a couple comments.
mhm,
Sean, go ahead,
yes.
buddy. You
Oh
seem
no,
like you was about to talk.
yeah, no, I was just wondering. Well, we were talking about this. One thing that I think stood out from 2019 to 2020 with lack of physical anything is the request, and you said about fatigue, for Zoom fatigue. It absolutely happened because I think I went to about 45 Zoom calls a week, either
mhm,
Yeah.
Zoom, Teams,
And
Slack,
I was
because
speaking on 7 or 8 of them at least, I have to
mhm,
imagine.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a lot to take in, Elena, if you don't know. Matt and doses is good. Um, but what I did, what I did notice is it became where people were excited at first, and then YouTube became so prevalent for all of us, I
mhm,
think. And but then I would get less views. We would get less views on the content during the live stream, but the playbacks were a lot larger. I noticed as time went on.
Yep.
So it became that on-demand content, and for posterity's sake. So I thought that worked really well. Ultimately, if you did it right, but it
Yeah.
did require us to come out of our comfort zone, because I think 2020 taught me, if anything, it taught me is that I had to have a good microphone. I had to have a good camera. I had to actually wear about my office. I had to actually, towards the second half of the year, I had to actually put pants on, and that became an important thing. Like,
Well,
and
that's an improvement, Sean.
it
That's
was
a
an
heck of a
improvement.
move
My
forward. Yeah,
daughters
yeah,
thought
yeah.
so, but I'm totally stoked about this program. I have 4 daughters, so I'm very much, um, and by the way, and I try to indoctrinate my daughters into like doing all the stuff I do, of course, as a parent.
mhm.
I'm like, you should be
Yeah,
involved in
yeah.
this. And my one daughter's like, I don't want anything to do with it, but I'm breaking the ice on my 13-year-old. So for me, this is like awesome, because I don't see enough of this kind of stuff in schools. Even, I don't know, like my daughter's being in public school, there's nothing. There's like,
Yeah.
you get like one semester. It's almost like when I was in high school, it's like home ec. You get like
Yeah.
one semester and like, all right, bye
Mhm.
now.
Well, that's why we have bits and bytes in our charity. We're trying to solve
Mhm.
all of those challenges, aren't we, Sean? Right? Like this
Yeah,
is the kind of goal of
absolutely.
this.
So
All
yeah,
right.
and
I
I
don't
so
want
I
to miss
support it.
comments here. So
Go.
let's get into a few comments because they pile up on us. Ashley said from earlier she absolutely loves science and blockchain. Me as well. I think there's some things that are coming out of that unified source of truth kind of concepts that are amazing for organizations. Um, Juan Fernandez. So if you don't know Juan, Elena, he is brilliant. He is an industry leader and a very good friend of mine, even though I think I did a better job presenting the first time we met than he did. I don't want to put that out there and he can't respond, so it's fun. But anyways, I just tease. It was in Puerto Rico. It was fun. Be authentic version of yourself and the heck with what everyone else thinks, right? And I think that is a message that's sometimes easier in certain populations and harder in other populations. And I think that's what's great about what you're doing is supporting some of that
Mhm.
spread and delineation, if you will.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the most powerful messages just to that I received a few years ago is we had the opportunity to ring the bell at the New York Stock Exchange,
that's
which
epic.
incredible. And I had some of our volunteers, some of our team, some of our board members there,
So cool.
and we're all hugging and on the stock exchange floor and like cheering and taking lots of photos. And I said, "Oh, should we take a professional photo?" And my board member said, "Elena, you're changing the face of leadership. Be yourself."
I love it.
That's advice to give literally anyone. I have this thought, right? We all probably die at some point, at least based on my understanding of scientific evidence today. And so if you have that understanding and 100 years goes by really, 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 really quickly,
Mhm.
then just be yourself. Why would you spend time not living the organic you? And most people find most of their life trying not to fight or fighting being their organic self. And I love that concept because I'm a weird guy and I just be me, and it's been better for my career. Scott challenges the short and tightness of the beautiful beard that is on Sean Lardo's face by saying, mine's even tighter and shorter. I know that, Scott. You look like you're still active duty military. I don't know that you ever were, but he always carries that. He's a damn just warrior. He goes to these shows and I get fatter and he gets skinnier. I hate him. So Molly posted about their event coming up, the Block Data Pi Summit today that you talked about. It's at www women who code /events. We had somebody call out Collie, Time Ed Collie. Where you at? I don't know that human. That might be on your side. They're talking about all you've been doing for the past year. Is that somebody you know, Elena?
Um, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. No worries. Didn't mean to put you on the spot. Playbacks are huge and live streams versus webinars. A gift of the fear of COVID. Yeah, true story. And I think to Sean's point earlier, the playback and evergreen content of these things, and back to Elena's point of all this content now gets to go on their YouTube and gets consumed, helps broaden the vision of the company. It helps broaden the charity's reach and view, and it continues to get consumption over time, I would wager.
Mhm.
Juan does say, I love seeing more women in tech. Keep up the great work. I love how remote work allowed for more women to enter IT roles. Do you have a thought on that, Elena? Would you agree or disagree with the remote work shift in empowering more of that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's really exciting. This remote work culture opens up a lot of opportunity. You have to think of the amount of privilege you have to be able to move yourself and even more your family to
Or
the Bay
negotiate
Area
for
or
a
New
corporate
York.
move? Yeah.
Exactly. And so being able to hire in other parts of the country and the world really opens up tech roles to people who would only have opportunities to reach local organizations. And so being able to be part of the top Silicon Valley, top New York, all the tech hubs,
Mhm.
Yeah.
companies, and live in Atlanta, Wichita,
And now
Kansas.
the resume
Mhm,
aspect of that behind it,
mhm,
right? And that space of it too, ex post facto, right? So like,
mhm,
not only do I get that opportunity to work for EY or whoever it may
mhm,
be that has this huge name behind it, but now I have that on a resume and
mhm.
still living in rural X, right? Wherever that may be. That's
Exactly.
huge.
It opens up doors forever going forward.
And can we add on the fact that also it can increase your wage because of
Mhm,
where the location of corporate is? I actually, a friend of mine, she's involved. She did exactly this.
mhm,
So I was actually active duty military. So
mhm.
thanks, Matt. I don't
You're
even have a
welcome,
clean
buddy.
shave. I don't even do a clean shave anymore. I haven't done that in 20 years. So, but she actually served with me. She did telecom. She was a communication person.
Mhm,
And probably about 5 years ago, even before this all happened, when remote was becoming a little bit more acceptable, she took a position, and she lives in Arkansas. She took a position and bought from a Boston-based company. Her wage was based off the Boston wage, which was
mhm,
really good.
mhm,
Um, so that's also a plus. It is a phenomenal thing to see, and actually, even for me, when I was actually as an employer, I had to make sure I find talent. You can't find it locally sometimes, so it gives you that
Yeah.
ability as well. So it is the best of all worlds. I'm just glad
Oh,
everybody's
sorry,
catching up.
Time Ed. Time Ed is teaching young minds every day, which is awesome. So fair enough.
I apologize, I'm terrible with acronyms.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah, I use a lot of them, but I am terrible with them. Sean, I don't know if you caught it earlier, but I posted this up. But Michael Crean with Solutions Granted covered the $1,900 of the 10,000, and he is going to bring us to 10,000, which means you and I might be meeting Elena in person here before too long to deliver a comically large printed check for no other reason, but I've always wanted a comically large printed check.
So
I've
So let's
like
just
never
be
gotten a
honest.
chemically
Like,
large printed check before. This is very exciting.
I'm excited. Well, I think the price is right. Right? They used to do that then.
yeah.
I mean, I grew up. I'm
Oh,
like,
I'm
I
gonna be
like
Ed
that.
McMahon. Like I wanna be Ed
Oh my
McMahon and drop this.
goodness,
Oh
yes.
yeah, like 100%. Balloons, the
The
surprise
Publishers
front door,
Clearinghouse.
all of it. Yeah, bro, 100%.
I think I
It's
signed
gonna
up
be
for so
great.
many things. I think I thought I was going to win that stuff and signed up
I
for
did
everything.
not, Scott. It was a DDoS. There's not hacking involved in a DDoS. You just pointed at somebody. There's a big difference.
So you've been doing this for
Matt
over 10 years
Solomon.
now, right?
So this is the famous Matt. So I'm the infamous Matt. Does that make me the infamous Matt potentially? But this is the famous Matt. Matt Solomon's a rock star in our industry. He's somebody I looked up to for a very, very long time. Not that I stopped, but the point being, he helped me have some of my imposter syndrome of getting out there and being on stage worked through. So, hearts out to Matt. Thank you
Yeah,
for being here,
thanks,
buddy.
Matt Solomon. Thank you, Matt
I'm gonna
Solomon.
hit you up though, bro. Like, just so you know, we're coming. I'm gonna ask for some monies towards this thing. You can't let Michael Green show you up. But I digress. No, so Michael Green did cover that. We do have the 10,000 for you. I'm so excited about that, and so I'm excited. Yeah. Any closing thoughts? We're going to be respectful of people's time. I really just wanted to get kind of your mission exposed. I think one of the facts that I'd love to hear from you is, what do you think your overall global impact is in our technology, and I'll call it our tech debt. We have a tech debt that we must solve. And I think adding more and more diversity, adding more and more different ways people think, adding more and more people and humans and people coded and understood how coding should be secured, I think is probably one of the most critical things to our survival as a technology consuming country, at least in the United States. And so very happy about the mission. I'm super happy that Sean and I could make a difference. It's really cool for all these people out there helping. Thank you so very much too. And thank you, infamous and nefarious and all of the adjectives in that same vein and direction and vector. So let's close out. Any closing thoughts or questions from any of you? And then Elena, I'd love to hear that global impact number before we close out too.
Oh yeah. So of our members that we've surveyed, 80% of them said they've had a positive career outcome from being part of our community. We serve 320,000 members globally. That equates to about a $3,000 pay increase. Our annual market impact is $1 billion every single year for diverse women and their families.
I'm not a smart man, but that's like 3 or 4 commas. That's a lot of commas.
There's a lot of zeros there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not quite a Google, but it is definitely awesome. No, I really think that if you think of it that way, you're making an impact in the children of those families, the pride of those families, the increase in DE&I, and the increase in trying to make it to where every human, no matter the sex or creed or born location, potentially has equality in salary. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's something that it still takes a long time, but it's going forward. So very cool. I'm just super happy to be able to do anything to help move that mission forward. So
yeah, thank you so much for being willing to put your beard on the line for charities.
Stop reminding me about that part. I don't want to talk about that part. That's not the fun part for me.
You should probably look at all the men that are doing this. Some of them have some very gnarly beards, and I remember when they didn't. And we all don't.
Oh, that's not nice.
We all don't look very normal without our beards at this point.
Oh, it's so good. Anyways, sorry, we cut you off. We're a bunch of cut ups anyways, but thank you for being here. We will be in touch soon as we get done with Michael's piece. The one thing I haven't talked about is GoFundMe does charge like a 2.3% charge or whatever it is. But when we move over to Sean's platform, potentially over at ConnectWise's foundation, then that will be going away. But in the interim, we will be bringing you your first distribution of this. I'm super excited. So thank you for being here, and we'll probably check back in with you as we go further in this operation, get closer to November. But it was great to meet you and chat. And I think Molly's right. Molly's your assistant, if I remember correctly, or in your executive space. Yeah. So I want to see video of you taking it to the bank. I'd be in for that whole skit from end to end if you're down. But
we can all go together.
Awesome. Sean, you got any closing thoughts for us, brother? And we'll close out.
No, I'm just super stoked. This is cool. This is good to be able to help out. It's a mission of ours in general with ConnectWise, but even for me personally, selfish motivation wise, I love doing all this. So it's awesome to hear your story, what you guys do. I didn't know you existed until Matt brought it to me. So I've actually been promoting it to my daughters. Like I said, here, girls, check this out. And
that's so
3 of them are 20. So they're at the age they can start doing a lot of different things in their career. So I'm like, here, take it. But
see if this is what motivates you. So
exactly. I think it's important to know. So thank you for this.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody taking their time out on a Friday morning. Come listen to me rant and Sean and us chat with Elena. See y'all.